Well, good morning. This is quite an after morning here from yesterday. It's 8:07 Central Standard Time on the 9th of January 2024. My goodness. So yesterday was a pretty phenomenal day. I will show you that here on I think it's best view on the Renko chart. This was yesterday. I didn't participate, unbelievably. I called actually this epoch migration entry, which is a structured trade, and this, which was also a test, if you will, or a of the IB high. Wow, I can't think yet this morning. Of the IB high, which is this green line is the IB high, and this green line is the IB low. And then up she went. Now, on top of that, here we have the overnight big sell-off back down to this consolidation area. So there's a lot of action. The first thing that I would say is it's extremely important to be vigilant against FOMO. If, in my case, not participating in this for stupidity here and a couple other unrelated commitments, not related to trading, to be real vigilant about FOMO, right? Missing out on this entire move, which was basically golden. And similarly at overnight, even though I don't generally trade the overnight, there's a big down move. Squeezing some of these longs, or you could possibly say some of these longs taking profit, but I don't think that the players or the participants in the regular trading hours are necessarily the same as those in the overnight or London, but never know. Anyway, so that's where we are here so far this morning. I'm going to start setting up the book map now. This is I've already changed this. I think because of that mouse not working, I'm going to go to. I just can't ever tell if the mouse is working properly on the window, but it does definitely on the display. So this column is the where the I will input the statistics based on the cloud as they relate to the cloud note levels, which are being pushed by IRT. So we're clearly opening lower in range, and that's determined over here. This is yesterday's range. This is a close or settlement, and we're opening much lower than that, but we are in yesterday's range. Interesting, or I think important to note here for myself, that in a trend day, which yesterday was very definitely a trend day, there is no real value. Price or the participants, or whatever you want to call it, they're looking for value, and it's called price discovery. So lower in range. Now that means we will go to the statistics tab, or a study, which is right here. And so lower in range is this column. The overnight point of control is 82.3% chance or probability that the overnight point of control, 84.4, sorry, will be taken out or touched in today's regular trading hour session. So what I will do is take these various points, overnight point of control, mid, close, etc., and I will transfer those or input those percentages to the respective column over here. Okay, so this is EVPOC. That's the overnight point of control, and that's 84.4%. And that's what I do and how I do it. Nothing magical about it. The overnight mid is 82.3. And where did that go? I just was looking at it a second ago and it disappeared on me. That's pretty funny. I just saw that 1 second ago. One thing to remember here is this column, FSVP, is the full session volume profile. This is yesterday's or the current session. Now, this would be yesterday's regular trading hours. And this is the chart volume profile, which is profiling just what data is on the chart. If you roll out, you'll see that it collapses. If you roll in, it gets bigger. Simple. Whatever's displayed over here is profiled here. This is the regular trading hour session, and this is a full session. So now that I've managed to lose the overnight mid, let's look up here and see what we see. Get some more stats up the way here, I'm sure. The previous close is 71.4. That's right there. That's the RTH close, 71.4. Boom. There we go. The overnight high, which is probably not going to be taken out anytime soon, is 49.7. So we got them stacking up here now. 49.7. So now this is kind of ridiculously close. You know, obviously with a little bit of slop, some of these are going to get hit. But if you just look at how it's working, what does this, just these first three, what do they suggest for the day's trade? Well, there's an 84% chance we'll get here. There's a 71% chance we'll get here. There's a 49% chance we'll get there. In reality, I'd say they're all pretty good because they're just, you know, one tick apart. But that's how the statistics are applied and how generally we look at them. Developing value area low is not one there. Let's see what else we got. The R mid. Do we have that? Previous value area low is 69.5. And just as a side note, the MCVPOC has gone up a couple points. I'll change that in a second. Overnight low is 49.9. Whoop. There we go. Previous value area high is 55.8. So this is kind of, I'm not looking at the right one. Ah, damn it. Sorry. I was looking at higher in range rather than lower. Easy for me to get sidetracked. Make sure that I've got these right. Previous mid is 70.7. Whoops. Cancel. Let's go over here and go 70.7. And that ETH low, let's make sure that's right. Overnight low is 69. Overnight low is 69. Boy, that damn thing is obnoxious. I got to figure out a way to turn that off. I hope you're not hearing that noise as I am. Okay. Well, let's see. Previous POC. 65.8. Doesn't make a lot of sense here, see? So those are some reasonable amount of numbers to have input here. And I'm pretty sure that right behind there is that's the overnight mid. And that is a fairly high statistic. That's 82.3. So I'm going to put that in right here. And tweak it down just a little, one tick down to be accurate. And it's kind of hard because they're overlapping, but anyway. So I'll call those okay. I will now look at the now we'll review the overnight or the MCV POC. And this is the MC and this is the MCV POC right here, in my opinion. And that's something that I can't read exactly. So it's 69.75. And the reason they're not exactly the same is because of this. Doesn't want to be nice here. So anyway, 69.75. So we're going to change this value to 69.75. Whoop. There we go. So it's lower in range. These are the values that would correspond, or the statistics corresponding to the price levels. We're about 19 minutes past the hour. We're going to open at the bottom of the hour, obviously. And it's been a downrange of, let's see, 4,900 to 72. So it's about 30 handles down overnight. And there we have that. Yesterday's VPOC at 4,800. Does that look about right? And that looks exactly right. Just traded up below that. You see there by one tick to yesterday's volume point of control. So that's a little dicey. And this I post to the Traders Lab every day for consumption of those folks that don't have IRT, just to try to help out a little bit. If I can, a little contribution, best I can. I also share a link to post all of my IRT levels with the Traders Lab. Traders Lab is a bookmap Discord chat room by a fella named, it was started by, I don't know, I guess bookmap for the benefit of Tom B. I don't know what his last name is. He calls himself Tom B. So that's all I know. A real straight shooter, a real, an actual, genuine professional trader. Started in 1980 or something like that. And he doesn't sell anything. He's just provides advice, a live stream for about an hour and a half each morning. And is, I think, genuinely interested to help traders, which is refreshing and about as rare as hen's teeth on the internet. So I try to support that as best I can. So here we have the lower in range, the statistics, the price levels from IRT, which I also share, is what I was talking about. I'll link to that so that other folks can have. And we open in 8 minutes. Very definitely need to be vigilant about FOMO today, as I mentioned. Anytime there's huge moves, whether you participated or didn't, or whether you participated and weren't successful, can be a really strong trigger for FOMO, fear of missing out. Right now, we're pretty well jammed in here with, we got some serious liquidity going on above and below. So for some reason, they're not too anxious to have that move. There's no appreciable reports today out, Red Book and some stuff that used to be fairly big movers, I think, but are only 1 and 2 stars now. So it's not, there's something, might be something I'm not aware of, but not on my system. I use investing.com, which is a free service. You can pay for it if you want to, but it can be free, and then it shows you the tools, reporting, economic releases, all that kind of stuff. And I'll be right back. Well, there are a couple of Fed speakers today, but that's Red Book is just out at 55. We'll see how that turns out. That's year-over-year Red Book. It's only a 1-star event, but for some reason, my memory used to. I remember it as being a market mover, but I don't think so. We've got the Atlanta Fed GDP at 10:30. These are all Central Time numbers. And then we've got bar speaking and accrued inventory or energy EIA, short-term energy outlook. There's around 11. So no real big biggies here as we get ready for the open in 3 minutes. Oh, I almost forgot about that. I keep forgetting to do that on the stream. So this is the going to set up the multi-brackets here, which go off every time you turn off bookmap, or from the live trading, the multi-brackets disable. Set up for the risk neutral. I'm not going to go over that again. I do it every day. Then we'll activate the trading platform. I use both because I initiate trades with the keyboard and then adjust targets, etc., with the mouse. Make sure that brackets down here, the old system brackets, is not ticked because that can conflicts with the multi-bracket. And now there we go. So I could enter a trade should I decide to with the multi-bracket risk neutral setup, which is a 12 tick or 3-point stop for both contracts. Then the first scale is at 12 ticks positive. That makes the second contract risk neutral, meaning that the worst that can happen in that situation is a scratch. So there you have it. Open in 1 minute. We're open. I would anticipate some responsive buying to take some profit over last night's sell-off, but you never know. And there we have a little, 4 or 5 points so far. And there we have the POC set. And we mark that because obviously we can see it now, no problem. But as the day progresses, there will be they'll scroll off to the left. So these POC migrations or movements are a bit hard to track. Just like right now, what the hell is going on? First thing, the brighter yellow is for the current RTH session. The more muted yellow is the POC of the full session. Right now, they're on top of each other again, so a little hard to see where that migration was. Originally here and then up to here, I guess. I don't know that that's worth thinking about. So the opening swing was up. Now we're selling down. That was only about, I guess, 2-3 handles up. This could be the opening swing low. Right here. You see that the major statistics we have are a hell of a long ways up above, so probably not that. No, and we missed this one here. It's changed right before the open, and now now the current session VPOC has migrated lower to here. So that's it's probably a better way to do this, but I'm happy with it. So what the hell. a bit of chop here, and it's interesting to note that we are right at a consolidation point from yesterday, about between about 11:30 to 12:30. Right here. Here's where we're opening and trading. Here's basically the one of the few consolidation or zippers that was put in yesterday's trade with that big up move. So there's some interest around that level for whatever reason. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. Tested that swing low, opening swing low right here. We're up, there's only a 4-handle trading range so far this morning. And I've got to step away. Be right back. Well, let's see if we get anywhere here now. I have a brief call that I would need to take at the top of the hour, but I will let the stream run on in anticipation, hopefully, of getting back on it and focusing back on the trading. One thing I have trying to really be vigilant about is don't be trading when I'm doing something else. I mean, there's guys that are good at multitasking and able to compartmentalize and stuff, and I'm not so sure that I'm one of them. So I'm trying to focus on trading when I'm trading and focus on whatever else I'm doing when I'm doing it. There was a guy on a TopStep guy that I remember they did an interview with at one point that had gotten funded and was up, I don't know how many $1,000 trading off his cell phone while he was running a skip loader, a Bobcat, somewhere in Georgia or place like that. You know, now that guy like that, I got to take my hat off to him. He's, busy working out on a construction job, running a skip loader and trading off his cell phone, and was funded for, I don't know what size account, and also was ahead to a point that he had been funded and was interviewed by them, which they used to do back when. Anyway, I'm not that guy. I need to be focused or at least that's what I believe that it's important to do. And we're just kind of in the hold here. We're only about 5 handles wide on the trade today. They haven't reached for any of the stats, really. So there's no report they're waiting for. I'm not really sure what to say at this point, other than keep your powder dry and watch for structured trades. In my view, the first one that would be coming down the road would be the IB30 trade, which has been developed by, or the statistics were done by, a fellow in the T-Lab, Traders Lab. That T-Lab is short for that. The IB stat, this is the IB high, this is the IB low. They are holdovers from market profile days, and it is simply the high and the low of the first 1 hour of regular trading session. That's all. Nothing magic. They continue to move up as price moves up. This one continues to move down as price moves down. After that first hour, they no longer move. And there's a statistic of well over 95% that says within the regular trading hours day, either the IB high or low will be taken out, meaning price will exceed one or the other. Now, doesn't mean if it's 1 second after 9 o'clock or 9:30 or 1 second before the close. And it means that one or the other will be taken out. So it's not a very tradable statistic. The IB30, developed by this fella, Rod, I think it was, he determined a reasonably good statistic of about 90-some%, or maybe 80-some%, I believe, and I have it built. Mine is about 80-something%. Says that after the first 30 minutes, in other words, after 9 o'clock, in the second 30 minutes of the IB stat, either the IB high or the IB low will be extended. I guess another way to say that is the statistics very low that the IB high or low are put in the first 30 minutes. That might be better way to describe it. I don't know. But anyway, the stat ended up being called the IB30. So there you are. And that's a structured trade. And that's a pretty good statistic. Now, in this really tight range, after yesterday's bloodbath or whatever you want to call it, runaway, I'm not sure what'll happen. And so I'm going to just really watch and be careful here. We did have a VPOC migration again up here by just a teeny weeny bit. There's another trade that was very, very lucrative, a structured trade yesterday called the VPOC migration. That is when the current session VPOC migrates one way or the other. Oftentimes, price will continue on in that direction because what the VPOC is it's the point where the most volume has traded. In this case, right here at 74.5, most volume has traded this morning, 97.07. If that moves down to here and it becomes 10,000 something, it's going to say, well, the participants are saying that value is shifting lower, which would, suggest that they think lower prices are more fair, and then that's where price is going to head. So that has then spawned the VPOC migration structured trade. Yesterday, it was phenomenal, and I called it or pointed it out on the stream. Otherwise occupied mentally and didn't take the trade. And I think it was, 30 points or something like that. Once you were in, there was no heat. And if you managed the trade properly, it would have gone to the top, which was targets way up above the VPOC and the old levels. So naked points of control, etc. So now we're going to look lower, and the IB or the overnight low stat is right here, 70.7%. And that is one of the higher ones. It says that the overnight low or high will be taken out, and that's a 93.7% chance, or probability. Well, we're pretty damn close to it, and so I'd say the low is probably going to be the one that gets tagged. And I think it's going to happen in about a second here. That's how that works. And there we are. So there's the overnight low stat out, and the MCVPOC has been hit. And there's the stops below that. Looks like the overnight selling is going to continue, perhaps. And, here you go with the structured trade. If you were looking at this VPOC migration up to go long, you're kind of disappointed about that at this point. What's most important is to collect your own statistics and vet or identify for yourself a statistically significant trade setup that has a positive edge. Yourself, myself, and then trade the hell out of it. It's the casino is the closest analogy to this business. And that is they have identified a positive edge on 21. Pick one, pick a game, 21. They keep exactly the same rules. Every hand is exactly the same rules, exactly the same play. The outcome is random, so somebody may win, some gambler may win, but over the long haul, the statistics, the positive statistic of that or edge of that game brings money across the table to the casino. And that doesn't have to, have to be a genius or, to go to any casino town and see who's making phenomenal amounts of money and who is not. Therefore, the trading business is closely related to or analogous of the casino. A casino or a gaming business, there's gaming and there's gambling. The house is gaming, the other idiots are gambling. In our case, we want to be the house, and that's how you run a trading business. It is probabilities. It's statistics and probabilities. And the outcome of every trade is 50-50. You have no idea what's going to happen. It's a random environment, just as is gambling or casino game. So that is how the game is, or this business is conducted as a business. On the other side of the coin, there's the gamblers who are just slapping in. I've got a feeling about this. They're hitting into it like they're killing snakes, and that's those are the gamblers, and those are the people that fulfill that statistics that are so horrible. Where 94, I don't know what the hell it is, 90% retail traders fail, and that's because they're gambling or looking at it like a video game instead of a business. They haven't taken the time, put in the work to vet a trade, to know what specific setup has a positive edge, and then trade that specific setup. And it has to be in the context, the setup, and the parameter. There can be no variables. In other words, I need to have a statistic in a lower in range, and I have to take whatever it is, whatever the setup is, I have to take it every time off the trigger, and I can't vary the stops. I can't vary the first scale, because that negates the statistical viability. I'm watching the market here. That negates the statistical significance of that trade. It can't be included. If you're changing all the parameters around, it can't be included in the data set. The homework statistics report there that I showed earlier with the developed where these numbers come from, the statistics for every one of these different price levels, there's only one variable. The only variable is the open type, in range, outer range, higher or lower. Simple. That's all there is. And that's the only variable that there can be. If you have a trade where you've got a stop of 5 one time and a stop of 1 next time and a stop of 15 the next time, those are not similar, and it can't be in the same statistics group. So that's something that I'm really working to develop. And I've only really come to actually embrace that. It's always been in the back of my mind, but I've only come to actually embrace that really in the past year or so. And I'm continually working on collecting those statistics with a online journal thing that I have through Jigsaw, because I've owned Jigsaw tools for 10 years or something. It's called Journalytics, and I have a pretty robust Excel setup workbook that I built back in 2015 or something, and I've tried to kind of get adapted around to the proper thinking here. And they both take the results of the trades directly exported from Rhythmic, and then that's how it works. So we sold down. We took out that overnight stat. The IB low is currently low of the day, obviously, here at 67.5. High is at about 66.25. And I think I've discovered something. I think if I click on the right side over here, I can then see the mouse on this other side. That's great. I don't have to go back and forth to the full between the window and the display. Excellent. I just have to remember that, I guess. One thing you have to be careful about, or I have to be careful about with Bookmap, this line right here designates the trade side to the right. You see how the mouse cursor gets a little dollar sign above it, or to the upper right of it? And To the left, it does not. You can click around over here any place you want to click, and it doesn't do anything. You click over here on the other side of that, and you're in a trade, out of a trade, short, long, whatever. So I wish there was a way I can't only trade with the keyboard because I can't manipulate this. It's much, much easier to pull the stops and targets around with the mouse. So, or for me anyway. But I have my keyboard set up for entries. So I can, hit the bid, lift the ask, hit market, whatever. And that's real simple to set up with on the book map. You could set up a whole raft of hotkeys. And here we come back up to the VPOC. So I don't see, there's no structured trade there for me, unless you want to think about mean reversion, which is outside edge back to the mean, which is in this case a viable trade. 68, 72. There's 4 handles. So at 3, right here, you'd be scaled. Now, you'd be scaled ahead of the mid, which is a good criteria, and ahead of the developing value area low. But you would not be really at a target. However, you being scaled, I would be risk neutral. So that's the mean reversion trade, and a large percentage of the trading is rotational. Very seldom are there days like yesterday. I don't know what the percentage is, and I should, because I've heard it 100 times, but I've never done the math myself or pulled the statistic out myself. But the probabilities of a trade, or the percentages of a trading days that are a trend are very low compared to rotational or balanced days. Well, 5 minutes here. I'll go off stream audio, tune into a call I need to be on, and then back. Hopefully, not too long. Again, with the mean reversion, if you want to be real technical about it, you could say you're reverting from this low up to this one, but we haven't made it up past this POCs yet. So there's not enough meat on the bone here. In other words, where's your scale? Your scale's got to be ahead of the first obstacle, and that's not it. Under the configuration that I have established, which is a 3-point stop, then the first scale at 3 points positive, and then the runner. But I suppose if you have a different setup where you have, you could have a 1-point stop and a 1-point scale and a runner. I don't know how, and who knows, that might be the way to go. You might be scaled and risk neutral way more than not. I don't know. That requires a statistic, and that's the only way to do it. Otherwise, you're just guessing and gambling. And I can assure you, once again, nobody in any casino town is guessing or gambling. The house is absolutely sure what their statistical edge is on every game, or they don't play it. And they're absolutely sure what rules are required to achieve that edge. They do not vary from those rules ever. They don't get upset when somebody wins. That's the cost of production, right? That's the cost of doing business. And they know that. They know that in a statistical data set of 1,000 trades, let's say they have a 20% edge. So out of 1,000 trades, they're going to lose, say they lose 40 and win 60. Right? Or I'm sorry, 80 and 20. That's 20%. Now, that's not how it works, of course, because it's not on the winning and losing necessarily, but in this case, because there's a scale and there's a runner. But in this case, the edge needs to be for the scale, and then so that you know for without a doubt that the structured trade has the positive edge to get to a scale that is risk neutral, and then that's where the profit can come in, just like yesterday. Take that the VPOC migration up, get your scale off, your risk neutral, and then the runner goes for 30 points. That's that's the logic there. The edge doesn't, in my opinion, the edge doesn't go to apply to the runner. You could calculate an edge on T1, which is the scale, and T2, which is your target, and that's easily captured and calculated. So we're just bouncing back and forth between a very narrow range of the MC, right around this area. So I'll step aside now on audio and go back to joining this call that I need. So that ran the full hour. That's not a lot of fun. But anyway, there wasn't a lot of action here in that period of time. Pretty much a here we had our 9 o'clock run ups. Then it pulled back here to the developing value area low, low. Extended up so that we extended the IB higher, and then on past to set the new IB. Now we haven't taken out, or have we? Yeah, we have taken out the IB. So this is, I don't think so. The IB will set at 9:30 here. So this is the current IB high, and we have not yet taken it out. And I seem to have picked up a little flu or something, and I'm getting some sneezes that rock me to the core here. Anyway, yeah, so we have tested up to this IB high. We set the IB here, which was an IB 30 because it happened between 9 and 9:30. We've pulled back down to this low value or volume area right here and to the mid and the VWAP and headed back up, but have yet to take out the IB high, which is a stat that would probably be pretty likely. There is, however, a lot of liquidity parked up here. And I'm going to take a few minutes here to kind of get my feet on the ground before I enter into anything. And something to notice here is that the low of these tests has been 80. This risk neutral setup and scale is 83. So I'd have to scale out just ahead of that liquidity and the IB high in order to be risk neutral, and then ride it for whatever comes out of it. But at this moment, it's not a doable trade. There's not enough room for me. And that's not to say that a breakout, if a breakout trade is in your trade plan, yeah, good for you. It's a very viable, profitable trade to a lot of people. Richard Dennis and the Turtles, the famous Turtles, that was their whole trade plan, was breakouts. So the fact that I don't do them because I feel that they are in my instance, I feel that it's more of a FOMO, I don't take them. Or if I do take them by accident, I very definitely journal them as a error FOMO trade or breakout. a quick step away to get a Kleenex, and we take out the IB high. So there is the IB stat. There is that IB stat done, and now what will happen? Who knows? How much higher can they get? How much higher can they take it? As high as they want to, obviously. Looking at yesterday, now we're see how the IB is developing here. IB low is maintaining. There is the IB high stat right there, where we exceed this green line. From this point on, which was at 9 o'clock, the IB no longer goes up. So that's the IB stat achieved right there just a few minutes ago. Probably one of the well, it's not actually a structured trade, the IB mid VWAP north, because there's nothing above, unless you were to do some analysis and determine if you've got if the VPOC is below you at the VP, or the other side of your trade, below or high, targeting the IB high, that's a stretch. It's easy to look at patterns and make stuff up. And some people, I'm sure, took that trade and did very well, and good for them. But I don't think that's necessarily a structured trade. And so I think it's almost as important to always take the structured trades which have a proven edge, a verified, statistically verified edge. It's almost as important to not take random trades. Only take those trades with a statistically verified edge. That I obviously need to prove to myself, and not sure how the hell. I guess any trade that's not structured would be marked. It could be a journal as an error, unstructured, or unvetted, or something like that, some sort of a name, so that they could be easily identified, and then you could take them out of the data set. That's the only way I know to do that. But lovely trade, 76 to 84. There's nearly 10 points. Nice gentle up move with no heat. Now, was there a trigger? It's hard to. This thing will aggregate, so you got to wind it out a ways to see that there was actually a trigger here, and a nice one. 283 stops came out right here. Trades up, tests back down to that level, and only 3 stops came out. That is, by definition, exhaustion. And up it went to the stat. So that's a excellent read. Not necessarily a structured trade, but an excellent read. an excellent read and still going up. So the way to be handling this, if you didn't have a stop set and take your 2 profit targets, is to have taken the scale and be managing the trade up. That was the key to yesterday's trade, to put on and take advantage of those long trend days. And I hope I don't do as I did yesterday, which is stream for a couple hours and then go on the side and miss the entire move. Well, I'm looking at those POCs. Yesterday's naked volume point of control is at 4,800, so that's not too far off the scale here. And after yesterday's shenanigans, it's like blink of an eye kind of stuff. I'm going to need to pick up a call here. I just got a ping. So we will be back here shortly. Well, that was certainly a lovely trade here. As I said before, not really a structured trade, in my opinion. However, a classic example, as we looked at a few minutes ago, a classic example of exhaustion. We come down to 240 stops. We test back down, and there's only 3 or 4. If we get that wound out, there's only 3. There we are. The way this works is if you have it set to aggregate, it'll add these over here until you spread the thing out. That's how Bookmap works. But what a lovely trade from down here at this level up here to the high of day so far. And there's a big string of singles here, which would be pretty suspicious that we don't get into them and eat them up. That's an old market profile philosophy that if you get into a big string of singles, you're liable to gobble them right up. And we'll see how that plays out. And I'm just too busy doing 2 things at once here. I'm not going to, it's really triggers FOMO, but I have to really resist hitting into trades and trying to do 2 things at the same time when I'm working on my other machine here, something that I've got to take care of for someone. A retest of that 90 level, that liquidity is interesting to say the least. You see this yellow line. Oops, wrong mouse. This yellow line is a developing value area high from yesterday. Developing VPOC from yesterday. Wow. My mouth isn't thinking about listening to my brain. So you'll notice that at one point for some bit of time, we were at 92.5, and we have now today tested up to 89.5. So kind of a high volume node here in yesterday's trade. We bounced off the MCVPOC, tested down through it, and headed back up. This is yesterday's gigantic trend day. And back testing the high value node here. And this bit of liquidity across. Yeah. Testing that 85 up. If you were real picky, you could say this was a bit of a mean reversion around this microstructure right here, but I think that's grasping at straws. And those are some nice rotations of about 4 points, though. So if you consider that this is the mean or the POC in effect of this microstructure that we're looking at over here, aligned with this piece. If you come off of here, you're looking at what, 2 points up to that POC or the mean, and then you need to get higher for any targets. The problem is the mean reversion setup is a 3-point trade to the scale. So in an 85, 87, that's only 2. You got to get up here around 80s in order to get the scale off, and that's a little bit dicey as far as I'm concerned. Okay, testing through that liquidity now, looking for higher. We've got the overnight point of control up here at 84.4, and above that is the previous naked volume point of control. I'm probably going to find myself aggravated again that a good moving day was had and I was otherwise occupied. Pretty irritating. Pretty irritating. Ninth. Okay, start over. Okay, something was in the March. I forget which one it was. I think it was 4th and 5th. February, March. Maybe it was those days. I don't remember. I've got to go back and look at her. Where did she go? There's Joel. Well, I think I was talking about something else here on the stream without muting. That was a mistake on my part. Yes, we've traded up through that liquidity. We're now looking at some higher volume. Kind of we're at the high volume node of yesterday right here. But we have this NVPOC above us, which is likely suspect. This is not a place to get in. This is a breakout. The retest here would have been 82 down, up, retest to 9. That would have been a likely, reasonably justified entry with trigger, except for the fact that there was not enough room between 85, I'm sorry. You'd have to get up to 88.5 to get your scale off. I guess that's doable because it's ahead of this first obstacle. Kind of getting to the point where I'm sick of not trading these things because I'm dealing with PhDs that can't figure out how to do a simple task on my server. Anyway. And here we go with a test down to the previous high. Will we come back and test it and exhaust and then head up? And the overnight point of control is very likely up here. Actually thinking about taking that trade. 4 to 3. It's 4 to 7. That's 3 points. That is the scale. And I wasn't properly configured on the book map, so that's irritating. I'm looking at this march upward here with a off the previous high towards the overnight point of control, which is 84.4% statistic. We got some liquidity coming back in here under this little pullback. And then the yesterday's naked volume point of control, or yesterday's POC, which is up here at 4,800. Slow grind is hard to get in on. And not a convincing amount of volume here, so I'm going to be hesitant at this point. I'd like to see it pull back to this liquidity and this consolidation right here. Reload their bullets and head up, but that may be wishful thinking. And it's so easy to look back at the end of the day and go, wow, why didn't I do that? But if it doesn't configure to the plan or the setup, then that's why. Here we had 36 out. We've kind of got some liquidity falling in behind these up moves. I'd like to see it pull back and then take a move to the higher ground. And I'm probably not going to get to see that. So I have to anticipate, do I want to take a 95 to 97? Now it's only 2 points. A minute ago it was 3. If I want to take the scale at the VPOC, and we've got this high volume node from yesterday and the liquidity there, so that is definitely an obstacle. Just lift it off. Frustrating. And now I'd be in breakout mode again, so I have to come to terms with whether I think that's a good idea or not. I mean, there's a lot to be said for momentum. The overnight point of control 84.4 going to be taken here. I was looking at an entry about 84. There would have been 3 out, so there was a scale. Now it's going to pull back down here, and we'll see if they rethink themselves up to the top. Yeah. And now we come back to this pullback. Notice that this used to be our overnight or our high. Now it's been elevated up here because of the delay between the investor RT and I think it's every minute bookmap update. The investor RT updates that file instantly, pretty much every 30 seconds or something. And bookmap, there's a little bit of a delay from when they refresh the cloud note column. Having taken that stat and then pulled back so dramatically, it's a little bit curious for me to get into there for what? We've taken the 84 stat, only got 65% for that overnight VPOC. May not be that important to anyone. However, that was my criteria for a pullback, and then some degree of exhaustion, 26 down, and then 6, then 1 and 1. So the problem with entering up here is you're at 3 points right back at the balance area or about at this support area, whatever you want to call this. And so your stop is any entry in here has got to stop significantly below this bottoming area. So there we go. Big ledge there. Those ledges always puzzle me. I've often thought that a ledge was a sign of weakness, looking for higher. They've also held a hell of a lot of times too. It's just that nobody is interested to go above those areas. And that could be the case now. I don't know. Looks like I'm wrong. But 95 quarter to the back to that number is only 2.5 points. That's not the scale. Now, if we'd entered over here on the exhaustion, 93, 95, we're still not scaled. So it's all about positioning and meat on the bone or range for the trade. And this could well go up to the NVPOC, but looking at it from a statistical point of view, if you enter down here and you've got this consolidation or this mean up here essentially is only 2 points ahead of your entry, that's not enough range or this mean reversion scale trade the way I have it set up with 3 points. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe it's not set up accurately or correctly or for the way I trade. And this is no way, shape, or form is this any kind of a vetted trade. This is just a breakout. Yahoo back to the VPOC, the overnight VPOC, EVPOC. It is going to get there from the looks of it, and probably higher. Might even test that naked volume point of control. So another pretty much trend day up. Kind of getting disappointed missing these. But, responsibilities are responsibilities. So there you have it. And again, 97 to 99 is only 2 points. So even if you're a breakout trader, this is this is not a very opportune spot to get in. We're now at yesterday's close, so they've essentially closed that. If you're the type of trader that looks at a gap from the close to the open, they've closed the gap. In my view, it's not a gap because it's still in range, but I tend to think of gaps as out of range. We're going to be testing that high of yesterday pretty close. So the NVPOC is at 4,800, the century number, and the high of yesterday is 83.25. And here we are back at the overnight point of control. That gap. Will they go after the VOC, settle in value area? Why? That's a very good possibility. I mean, it could just take off and run like it did yesterday, in which case I'll be forever bummed out that I wasn't on board. I'm going to take a water bottle break here. Well, so it seems that it's a good idea not to impulse in. Yeah. Yeah, these kinds of markets are probably the most hard for me to resist FOMO when I'm not able to be fully engaged from the get go. You know, here was yesterday, here's today. It's tough to resist FOMO and the not even so much the FOMO, but more the okay already, let's get a trade on, you know. And I know other traders who talk about, well, I just probe the market, you know, I put out a trade to put out a feeler. I just don't have, I'm not that cavalier with stops to do that. I guess maybe it's account size or something, but you know, that doesn't register with me very well. So I don't do that or try not to do that. Yeah, well, you see how proud of myself I am. I guess I forgot to mute again. I was probably talking to myself while I type. I gotta get professional about this that streaming thing, and I am not yet. But hey, the purpose of the stream again is the ultimate purpose of the stream is my video journal. To I narrate so that I am able to hear what I was thinking and see what I was thinking and see how I react and how I handle a trade. That's the idea. The fact that it's streamed is hopefully could be beneficial to someone else. I also stream it because I figure it's a more permanent record and location. I can listen to my stream on my phone at night when I'm falling asleep or whatever else, rather than as the recording. Each one of these are also recorded, but they're stored on the hard drive. So on the book map, actually. That book map Dropbox. So that's why I stream them. But it would be kind of nice to have those streams have a big winners hooked onto them now and then. Yesterday is just pretty disappointing to have missed out. Fear of missing out. FOMO. What FOMO stands for. Well, well, well. Yeah, so they're just going to hang out here and tease everybody and then probably consolidate and take it up would be my guess. But I'm going to suggest that it probably will happen without me because my stomach thinks my throat's been cut. I need to get some fuel here. Got kind of fighting off a flu and I need some fuel. So we're 11:32. We're balancing. Right here, we're putting in a zipper at this consolidation on the highs. Yeah. Right here, I think it's a suicide play. Anybody, this is just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. FOMO. Yeah. They're waving that NVPOC up above the price here like a flag for a bull. And it would be a lovely fix. Well, not lovely. It's only a scale from this point. Not even. It's only a 3-point scale from here to here. Now ahead of the NVPOC, yeah, but this is an obstacle. This liquidity just above the previous or above the current ETH high. So was that little pullback it? This would have probably been a reasonable entry if I were dead set on taking along to the highs and call it a mean reversion. So your mean area would be up here. But you've also got this one living down here, which is just a point above. So, and there was a big consolidation. This consolidation wasn't there when it got here. When it got here, this was just rotating up to here. So you could have conceivably taken that, but then it just consolidated here and put in this volume. That's something that have to be remembered when you're looking backwards. Well, there's been quite a bit of thrashing around while I was eating my breakfast. And now, probably, that liquidity lifted off. They may take a run for the roses here just going into 12 o'clock. But I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing that without me. All right. So is it going to break out above that high? The RTH high. Yeah, ETH high. Wow. Can't even focus here. That's the overnight high. This is the overnight volume point of control. And just lurking slightly above is yesterday's naked volume point of control. Bing, bang, bong. Lots of targets getting hit here. And there's no way that I would consider trades up in this area to be anything other than FOMO-ish, breakout-y kind of deal. So there you go. We had a nice long consolidation or zipper in over here after our run up. IB high out, and then up we go. IB 30 there, and then the IB high over here. IB stat, I should say. And now we're poking around up here with our low end just on the top. Wow. So. Look at that. Look at that. Coming up to 56. I'm going to shut the stream off at the top of the hour. I've got to take some Theraflu and get a little rest here. And then I may start the stream again if things look promising for the afternoon. About 1 or 1:30 for the power hour, etc. And if not, have a successful day. It's, the hell is it here? I don't even know. It's about 10C here. Oh, that's around 50-ish, I guess, 40-ish, I guess. depending on your time frame, of course, any of these are, you know, in that RMT configuration, rear view mirror trading are great. Here's a notch. Here's a mean mean reversion, the mean and up. Yeah, that's all easy to see in hindsight, and it's all okay that it works out. It gets here and works out up to here. That's about four hand, but that's only 4 points. So that's not even remotely close to the scale or the scale for the risk neutral trade. Sorry, I was looking at the Mako over here on my left, making sure that these things are aligned. So that extremely, extremely high possibility that we're going to take this 27 up to 48. And, get up here to this naked volume point of control. At which point there's going to be a buttload of stops, one would assume. A lot of fuel to the upside, but that's a pretty dicey. Going to wind the stream off here at the top of the hour. Be regretful that I didn't take advantage of these uptrends today and yesterday. But I figure if I haven't seen a structural trade that I'm aware of, I'm better off not taking a trade, or that I recognize I'm better off not taking a trade. Yesterday, I very definitely recognized the VPOC migration and actually narrated it and pointed it out on the stream, and then didn't take the damn thing. And look what that was all about. What are we talking about there? 55 to 90, basically 55 to 98, say 95. That's 45 handles. That's pretty good. And today it's a similar situation with the IB high continuation trade, which is what both of those. This would be the IB continuation trade right here, and coupled with the VPOC shift. So that was like a double whammy. Today we had the IB high continuation trade, and that was a missed opportunity on my part. We're now here if you're a breakout trader. And if I were a breakout trader, if we break out of this high, they've lifted this liquidity off. We take this naked volume point of control, and there's probably going to be a pop up to around probably around, I guess, target 08, 06, somewhere in there. Yep, and there we go. You see, that's exactly what I was saying. Right straight to the value area high from yesterday, and now we've just got a little bit above us. So that's what could happen when they goof around here, and pretty soon that energy gets built up in the consolidation. And when they hit into those stops, it's a stop run to the top, or stop pick, or whatever you want to call it. And that's how it works. There would have been a very lovely 95 to 02, 8 points. But you could have gotten hammered here. You could have gotten hammered here. You know, there's a bunch of spots along here where it did not break out. So, woulda, shoulda, coulda. And I'm going to wind the stream off at this point. I would like to give this some thought. If it looks like it's a favorable situation, I'll restart the stream. And if not, this is the morning session of 9th of January 2024 from about 10 past 8 to 15 or 20 minutes before the open through 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. All the best.